you, Father God. Rest beyond the river, Lord God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord God.
Let us pray. O Lord our God, how excellent is thy name in all the earth.
Yes, Lord God, Jesus.
We pray for the sick, the burden, and trouble. Forgive us our sins.
Yes, Lord.
Break now the fallow ground of our hearts to receive the seed of thy word.
Yes, Lord.
Words of our mouth and meditation of our hearts, except with thy sight. O Lord, our Redeemer,
yes,
and
Lord.
our strength. Take us out of self, perhaps on the cross, they would not see, they will see thee.
Yes, Lord.
And of our Christ we pray, and all the people say it.
Amen.
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 I want to lift from the 39th chapter of Genesis, in the first 5 verses, these words, Genesis 39, 1 through 5. It reads as follows. Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, the officer, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him by the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. His master, that is Potiphar, saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight and served him. And he made him overseer over his house and all that he had into his hand. And it came to pass from that time he was made overseer of the house and over all that he had. And the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the fields. Useful subject for your inspiration information this morning. The real story. The real story. Oftentimes when we watch whatever, especially in this social media world, a world where we get our information from social media, that is Facebook or Instagram, YouTube or Twitter, and we will sometimes see stuff or gather stuff, information through those mediums. But do we really know what I call the real story? What really happened? What may, not just the what happened, but the why. And oftentimes in this day and age, in fact, a lot of times in the media, truth becomes secondary to ratings. And oftentimes I call what I spins, that is, after you hear a debate or a speech, the reporters, the commentators try to put their spin on it. And to me, a spin isn't anything but a mental and spiritual hors d'oeuvre. And if you know anything about hors d'oeuvre, it tastes good, but it's not filling compared to a meal. Because you have ears, you have a mind, you know what a man or woman said, what they didn't say. So there's no need to try to put a spin too much on it. Not that you shouldn't comment or analyze, that's fine. But you have to be careful in analysis, because usually the person doing the analysis will bring his viewpoint of what was just happened or what just been said. But actually, we look at the scripture. It is the story of God's revelation to humankind that is fulfilled in the coming of his Son, the Lord Jesus Christ. That is really the story behind the story of this book. Now, if you want to look, another way of looking at scripture is this. It is the love of power versus the power of love. That's really it in a nutshell. I'll say it again. The love of power as epitomized in Satan, who wants to usurp the person of God and trick humankind to join sides with him, versus the power of love. God who made this planet has also chosen to redeem it himself through his Son, Jesus Christ. It's really, so to speak, the real story. And all of us have looked back on our lives. People may look at you and what you've gone through, what you've accomplished, your ups and your downs. But do they really know the real story? What puts the piece together as a puzzle? Now, you can liken one's life to a TV show or a movie. And usually at the end of a TV show, they're going off, you will see all these names. The writer, the director, camera person, primary actors, supporting roles, those who may just walked on there for 5 minutes. Or if you go to a movie, as I do sometimes, you just sit there because you like the soundtrack. It's really got you rocking. You see all these names. Camera 1, who was that? Camera 3, the background, people. And in one movie I went to see, one of the actors, I knew the name of that person who I used to pastor in New Orleans. He was on there for about 5 minutes. But that really tells you the story behind the story. And so as you look at Scripture, especially the stories of his heroes, from Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Esther, Ruth, how God acted in their lives. You come to the New Testament, Mary, Elizabeth, and so forth. 12 disciples. There is a story behind that story of what God was doing for them and through them. And so in this particular text, the story of Joseph, the eldest son of Jacob and Rachel, there's a story behind his story of how things transpired and why they transpired in his life. The story is, of course, that Joseph was his father Jacob's favorite. Joseph is given, the book says, a coat of many colors, and not just because he was their favorite, but there's reason, because you have to look, I think in the Old Testament, one of the books of Chronicles, it tells us why Reuben lost favor with his father being the firstborn, because he slept with one of his father's concubines. And that was a no-no in that culture. And so he was disqualified from getting all the blessings that the firstborn of that line would have gotten. So he goes to the next firstborn by Rachel. Now, obviously, when you look at Joseph's story, it is one of a dysfunctional family. I often say, when you got that many women involved, that many children, it's going to be a problem. Amen. This was a dysfunctional family because, again, Jacob showed favoritism. And I often remind parents, no two children are alike. Amen. And it causes problems in the family for you to show favoritism. It's one way to have all hell break loose in your household if you show favoritism. Amen. So giving this particular coat to Joseph was like taking him to Dillard's and getting a custom-made suit. While the other children, you go to Walmart or Goodwill and buy their clothes. Now, how are they supposed to feel? Or it's like going, I will say, to Best Buy and buying him whatever gadget he wanted, and then going to Goodwill or Walmart and buying them something for less money. That causes resentment. Or sometimes parents will tell their children, well, if Bubba made straight A's, how come you can't make straight A's, Jamal? Well, no two children are alike. But favoritism will cause problems in your household. The kids will carry grudges until they did after you've been dead for years. That's right. Now, what complicated the issue with Joseph was also he was a dreamer. And he dared to share two of his dreams. First dream was the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowed down to Joseph. And even Jacob had a problem with that. You mean to tell me your mama and I'm going to bow down to you? The other dream was they were in the field, gathering sheaves, and the other sheaves bowed down to Joseph as his stood straight up. So his brother said, this boy got an ego problem. And they began to despise him, to hate him. And one day, as he was coming, they decided to put him in a pit. Some wanted to kill him. But they put him in a pit in a cistern that was dry. Fortunately, he was not drowned. And they decided to kill an animal, dip his jacket or his coat in animal blood. And then they decided to sell him to a band of Ishmaelites who happened to be their cousins through Abraham, bound for Egypt. So he gets to Egypt. He is sold to Potiphar, the captain, the Egyptian guard, prestigious household, military man. And Joseph does not complain, as far as we know, about his condition, his servitude, his forced labor, not being paid, slave. But Potiphar notices something. Everything Joseph is assigned to do, he does it effectively and does it well.
Amen.
But he also noticed, and the text does not say whether they talked about the true God or not, but some kind of way, Pilate got sense that some outside force, some supernatural power was with Joseph. To the point that he trusted him with his household. Joseph does well. Now, of course, you know the rest of the story. Joseph is accused of sexual harassment by Mrs. Potiphar. As the song goes, she had eyes for him. Now, I say so often in circles, our culture will sometimes assume, always assume, most of the time, that sexual harassment is the man going for the sister. That's not always true.
Right.
Come on, Pastor. Come on, Pastor.
Sometimes women will make a pass at the man
All right.
and tighten the screws on him to force him
All right.
into an affair. And that's getting commonplace as a woman, and no offense, sisters, as you mount up to power positions, you get to executives, you get to be in charge. Be careful you don't abuse your power over those who are under you, especially in that area. I've been married to church of women trying to abuse the influence on the pastor or the deacon, going that route to make a pass at those at male leadership. And I say so often that's dangerous, because when you mess with the church, you mess with the Lord's woman, his bride. And he does not take that too lightly. Amen. And I've said this sometimes, a lot of women are going to send deacons and pastors to hell running behind them and trying to trap them. That's a Jezebel spirit. That's dangerous. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Mrs. Pilate accused him of sexual harassment. What happens? Joseph is thrown in prison. But again, the text says, and all through Joseph's life, you hear this sentence, the Lord was with him, or the Lord remembered him.
Yeah.
That's how he made it. Until finally, to cut the story short, Pharaoh had dreams. And the chief cupbearer, remembers Joseph could interpret dreams. And he tells Pharaoh about it, and Joseph interprets the dream and say, it means 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. Because again, the dream was 7 stalks of grain devoured that were pale and weak, devoured stalks that were fat, prosperous. And so, Joseph said, and 7 cows that were plump are divided by 7 thin cows, lean cows. Say, it means it's going to be 7 years of prosperity. But here in 7 years, it's going to be a famine. So you need to get ready to prepare. We have a bumper crop, put some aside, and when the hard times come, both won't starve to death. And what does Pharaoh do? He puts Joseph in charge. And as Paul Harvey said, the rest of the story is when the famine that just goes beyond Egypt, it hits Canaan, and his brothers are literally forced to come to Egypt by grain. They don't recognize Joseph. He recognizes them. And that is how God gets the Israelites to Egypt to grow them to a nation that later on Moses will lead out into the promised land. Now, what does this text say to us concerning our real stories? First thing we suggest, number one, the real story of events in Joseph's life is that God's presence allowed him to be successful in achieving the task given him. I'll say it again. Number one, the real story of Joseph's life is that God's presence allowed him to be successful in achieving the task given him. That's evident. How was he able to accomplish whatever he was assigned to do? Was God's presence. He did not grumble. He did not mumble. He went ahead and did the job. And remember, as it were, here he was, the favorite son, so to speak, wearing a fine garment, and he goes, so to speak, from riches to rags. And you don't hear him mumbling. He just accepts what he has to deal with. In other words, he had the wisdom to take the lemons and make lemonade. He did not grumble. He did not fuss. He just did the task. But he was aware, perhaps, that a presence was with him. He didn't understand what was going on, but he did what he was told to do. Now, sometimes we're put in situations that are negative, that are bad. And rather than, so to speak, play the hand we got, we would sit back and grumble and fuss and even cuss. And see, you got to remember this, beloveds. You can't look back, because one preacher said yesterday is a canceled check. You can't go back to tomorrow. That's gone. And tomorrow, if it comes, is a promissory note. It may or may not come through for you tomorrow. But you got today, and that's ready cash. So wherever you are, do what you can do to the glory of God. Stay on course, keep your focus on Christ and his word. Yeah. And God will bless you to be successful where you are. And pretty soon, if you trust him and wait on him, he'll make whatever responsibility you got go by with ease. You know what? This is a piece of cake. I know I can do this. I know I can handle this. So the first thing, again, the real story is God's presence allowed him to be successful in whatever task he had. Text would suggest, remind us what? That if God assigns you a task, I can do all things through Christ.
Amen.
Who strengthens him. And sometimes, as I tell young folk, if, for example, in classroom, there's a hard course, you ought to ask the Lord to teach you how to master that course. Because all those subject matters you study in class, he knows. And in fact, the laws he set in place, he knows how they operate. So if you got a problem with science or math, God put those laws in place and ask him to open your mind to understand and discern what's going on and master the subject matter. And most of us think, that all God cares about is on Sunday. No, God cares about you from Monday through Saturday. How your week is going. He cares about you when you're traffic jam. Can you pay your bills? No part of life is off limits to his love. Remember that. Whatever it is. Right? A story of a man, before I move on, of a detective. He would pray about what you wear. And he asked, what kind of tie should I wear? And somebody said, put on a clip-on tie. Not a string tie. And so he had to apprehend, arrest a criminal, They got violent, and the man reached for his tie, and the tie just came off the shirt. It had been a string tie, the man could have choked him to death. So even the small things, you can be successful in. Remember, some things in the details. One wrong period in the wrong place, one screw unloose, can make or break anything. Second thing, number 2, the real story of Joseph's life reminds us that God's presence allows him to make it despite a hostile environment. This was no picnic he was living through. He was in slavery. He was seen as property. He could treat it as an object. No humanity, so to speak. Life and death. And we as a people, as a church, know what it is to deal in a hostile environment simply because of the color of your skin. I say so often, historical evidence for God's existence is a Jew and a black man. Because everything in civilization is thrown at us. Murder, lynching, Jim Crow, segregated, dehumanized. We still trucking. Come on. We still understand that God will be with you in a hostile environment. Because we know what Hebrews 11 says. By faith, Abraham did this and Noah did that. Those environments were hostile. But their faith sustained them. And can't you say in your life, that is what has kept you, is your faith? When the doctor gave you bad news, the Bible said, make out your will, plan your funeral, pick your grave, and the doctor been dead. Come on now. And you still kicking. We understand what it is as a people. I do anyway. Have to work in a hostile environment when you know folks don't like you. For no hate you without cause. But you still did your part. You still kept on trucking. Still kept on moving. Kept on pushing. You didn't mow. Because that's our genius as a people, is to accomplish much despite the odds being against us. Sometimes we look at what we have, but look at and fret on what you don't have, look what you got. Had those heroes and heroines 100 years ago, during the height of oppression, what's called the Native period, the lowest period for black folk in this country, just threw up their hands. Chances are there would not have been a Tuskegee Institute, a Booker T. Washington, there wouldn't have been a Bethune-Cookman College. There probably would have been a Southern Grambling. But when it started churches with dimes and faith, or businesses back in the day, on dimes and faith, because it was a hostile environment. But they had sense enough to do 2 things, to trust God and to love each other and to look out for each other. Now we got the attitude of every man for himself. Me, myself, and I. So Joseph's real story was, I function in a hostile environment. Sometimes my white classmates in high school ask me, how'd you endure those first 2 years of high school? You were called N-word, not spoken to, dehumanized. I said, I had a classmate y'all couldn't see.
All right, amen.
His name was Jesus. Amen. And every morning he said, I got this happen. I got your back. You go there. Sit down, open that book, listen, take notes, do your best, and I got the rest.
All right.
Come on, church.
Man.
All right.
Man.
A house environment. As I look back 60 years, come on,
Say it,
how God has blessed me to be in the presence of not one president, but at least 4 or 5, and governors and mayors, and went to the Capitol to get a prayer. Don't tell me what God wants.
All right.
All right, all right.
He means what he says in his word. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first.
Come on.
As I look ahead down the years, if I sleep in the grave, the 50, 100 years, my children, grandchildren will see their name is in the congressional investigative prayer in Congress. Now, 200 plus years of praying, A.G. McLean is on the list,
All right.
praying for the nation in the House of Representatives. So you have to work in the house environment. Don't look at what you don't have, look at what you got.
Amen.
Listen, our people sometimes complain about, well, we ain't got no money. We got money. We just don't know how to manage it.
Amen.
We put $1 to $2 trillion in the economy, and most of us are broke. It's not what you spend, it's how you spend it. Sometimes we spend stuff on foolishness. Now I'm gonna make some folks mad. I'll talk about Mardi Gras. I'm not a Mardi Gras fan. You have at it. You want to spend your money going to balls and parades. That's a waste. I ain't got time to stand in the cold, so throw me some mister. Fish pneumonia. Oh,
Say it now.
I don't care wearing for a tuxedo. That's y'all, that's fine. But it seems to me, you got to rethink your priorities.
That's right.
That's just my brothers. We've always had it hostile. Those of us who grew up in segregation, as I did, until 8th grade, understood we were given second-hand books and second-hand seats. But we have first-class teachers who believed in us in spite of what you have to deal with. You're going to be somebody, you're going to get an education and go forward and make a contribution to society.
Amen.
Understand house environment? It's like a game. Before I move on. You pay athletes all that money. You buy those tickets when they start back with events. But you're not paying to hear them grumble about he tried to block me. Or he knocked the ball out of my hand. That's part of the game. It is, in a way, friendly hostility because both teams want to win. They understand that. They can't complain about that. So we know that being a Christian is going to be a hostile environment. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. But Jesus says, I'm with you always, even to the end of the age. Move on. Number 3, the real story of Joseph's life shows that one is faithful in smaller things. Ultimately, he's allowed more responsibility. If you're faithful in small things, you'll be given more responsibility. That's why they do a credit check. See how you manage your money. They look at it, if the school's not a certain thing, they'll say no, if you got back bills, unpaid bills, or too many late payments. That's the see. Can you handle small items? Can you handle big items? Or, for example, if your child can't manage $1, there's no way you're going to give him $100. Right?
Amen.
That's why it's building blocks to get where you want to go. If you are faithful in the least, the book says you'll be faithful in much. And that's why I tell young folk when I go to a restaurant, a fast food house, and you have a sour look on their face, may I help you? I said, well, baby, let's try this again.
All right.
Good morning, good afternoon.
Amen.
Now let's smile a little bit. And then, all right. May I help you? I said, that's better. I said, let me tell you why. You don't know who's watching.
Amen.
I said, for all you know, I could be president or area manager of McDonald's. And I would notice, who is that young lady that was a bad service? Who is she? Who is that young lady, young man that gave good service? Smile, complimentary, helpful. Elementary manners will take you further than 10 degrees.
All right.
Folk don't care how much you know as long as they know you care.
That's right.
So be faithful in the small tasks. I got a job because I did so well. I know who was watching, but I got recommended for something bigger later on because I was faithful to what I was set out to do. And God does reward faithfulness. What he says. He was faithful. What he did. The great preacher Tony Evans talks about. He was in seminary. Seminary is a school for pastors. Seminary is to ministry, what law school is to lawyers, and med school is to doctors. He got a job sorting luggage, I think, at the bus station in Dallas. But the folk who he was working with had a pact to cut corners and not do any work. But the company was watching, and they got caught and got fired. And because of his faithfulness, he got a promotion. Don't tell me what God won't do.
Amen.
He was faithful in small things. He didn't grumble. Perhaps in his mind, he didn't foresee what God had in mind to elevate him from the pit to the palace, to be the second most powerful man in Egypt. The real story was, he was faithful. And if you look at the great figures of history, they were faithful in small tasks. But God promoted them and elevated them to greatness. Look at Moses, 40 years on the backside of Midian, shepherding sheep, before he's called to deliver God's people. Look at David, the baby of the bunch, youngest child, shepherding sheep, but becomes king of Israel and considered Israel's greatest king. So if you have a small task, do it and do it well. And that God give you the promotion. And then, the real story of Joseph is that his life got Potiphar's attention. In other words, somehow, does not tell us, Potiphar saw God through David's life. In other words, David lived out what we sometimes do. The only sermon that folk will see. How you handle a situation. Perhaps he texted and said, maybe he conversed with Joseph. He said, man, I know you're cool under all this pressure. You never mumble when I ask you to do something. You never criticize the other slaves. What's your secret? And I'm pretty sure that if there was such a conversation, he told Potiphar, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob has a destiny for me. And I'm just going to do what I'm told to do and wait for him to bring results. Question is, on your job, in your home, how you endure the pressure you under. Can the world see Christ in you?
Amen.
Can the world see Jesus in us? People have asked me, they're at your close, about the virus. Remember what's the Well, I've said this. I said, well, I see God's fingerprints all over this because the world has gone crazy and America's lost her mind. And sometimes God has to shake up in order to shake out.
Yeah.
And it's even touching the church because we have not done things that we're supposed to do. We're divided on race and class and barriers that don't make a difference. We have a president that folk want to make into a God, and God says, I will not share my glory with another. So you can't blame this on a terrorist attack. You can't blame it on the Mexicans that folks say are rapists, which they're not, and murderers, which they're not. Not all of them. But just want a better life for their children. And you can't blame it on the non-white population. But you have to, but sometimes God will let you go through a storm.
Yes, he will.
Yes, yes. To really rethink your priorities.
That's right. That's right.
And as I look back at this virus,
Yes, Lord.
it hadn't been a year that we were shot by children at the border of the United States, living like animals, families torn asunder. And I'll tell people that when God says through his word to take care of children, take care of the helpless, take care of the needy, take care of the down and out, he just was not talking to individuals, but he was talking in the context of a nation.
Yes, yes, yes.
The nation Israel and the nation Judah.
Yeah.
And just putting in God we trust on the walls
Come on.
and on the street and in granite is not going to change this country.
Yes.
Say it.
You see, you can call prayer meetings, that's what y'all do. But when you come off your knees from praying, you got to get up and decide, sink or swim, or live or die.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and make a change and be better and do better for the cause of our Christ. And oh, my brothers and sisters, you see, that crowd, I don't mean no harm because I wish they stopped saying if they criticize the president, you hate him. No, we don't hate him. We love him. And I want to see him succeed because when he succeeds, the nation will prosper. That's what the book says. But you see, you can't go along when he's wrong because the church of Jesus Christ has to remind the nation and remind him that there's no other God but the great Jehovah, the one that made heaven and earth. And I heard him say that I am God and I will not share my glory with another. And sometimes God will let stuff happen to show you that it's better to have a God that'll carry you and not a God that you can carry, because I'm a witness chick, I'm going to preach anyhow. And if that God you can carry, it will put you down. If your money carries you, you're going to be broke before sundown. If you carry your car, it's going to break down. If you worship your house, it'll fall down. If you worship your good looks, Father Time will slow you down. Can I get a witness? Father Time or take you on a drive and put you in park. Oh, my brothers and sisters, I'd rather have a God that'll carry me when I get weary, because a God that I can carry, it'll sooner or later put you down, and you might push up your good looks, but keep on good looking, keep on living, because sisters, if you got your body like a Coke bottle, time will spread it into a 2-liter. You might have pretty teeth, but keep on living. Your mouth is going to look like a jack-o'-lantern. Oh, my brothers, you might be firm and fine, but your chest is going to drop down to your belly. Just keep on living. I would not carry a God, but I want a God that'll carry me over. I want a God that'll lift my bowed down head. I want a God that'll put me in my limbs and pepper my step up. I got clothes now. But one last thing I want to look at. The rest of the real story is heard. In one line, it says, but the Lord was with Joseph. I wonder that your testimony, when you look at your life, you can sum it up. It ain't about your degrees. It ain't about your money. But the Lord, in case you forgot who he is, can I tell you about him? The Lord Elohim, the Lord Adonai the Sovereign, the Lord Jehovah Jireh the Waymaker, the Lord, do you know who I'm talking about? The Lord, won't he do it, church? The Lord, Abraham ram in the bush, Moses rod at the sea, Joshua's battle ram at Jericho. The Lord, is that your testimony? Can I call the roll? If the doctor said, plan your funeral, make out your obituary, sign your will, but the Lord stepped in and raised you up, and you're still going on, and the doctor has died. They said you wasn't going to make it, but the Lord made a way out of nowhere. The Lord, if you call the road, church, if you ask Abraham, who put a ram in the bush, he'd tell you the Lord was with me. If you talk to Noah, you built a boat, nobody ever heard of rain. They said, look at that old fool, preaching for 120 years and building an ark. He said, the Lord got me through the flood. If you ask Moses how you crossed the Red Sea, he'll tell you the Lord got me across. If you ask Joshua how did you fight the battle of Jericho, he'll tell you the Lord. In other words, he said, walk around the problem and shout hallelujah and watch the walls come down. If you ask Daniel how you got out the lion's den, he'll tell you the Lord was with me, Shadrach, Meshach, and a bad Negro. The Lord was with us. If you talk to Paul and Silas and that crowd that preached the word in the first century, the Lord was with us. But come on down the lane, talk to Harriet Tubman, talk to Booker T. Washington, talk to Sojourner Truth, talk to Martin Luther King. The Lord was with me. Have you ever had a situation that nobody know how brought you out? The Lord, you know him, but they stretched him high and they hung him wide. The Lord, he died. Didn't he die? He died. Look who's the mover, he died. He died. But early. Sunday night.
Yes.
He got up.
Amen.
It is the news. Real story. Yeah, no test. No testimony. You can't understand my glory.
That's right.
You can't hear my story.
That's right. That's right.
All of us
Story.
can look back over our lives
Oh, yes.
and said what the book said. He that keepeth Israel, the slumbers, don't sleep. The Lord will watch over his own.
Oh, yes, he will.
He may not make a lot of noise, but I'm a witness. Every now and then, he'll shake up and shake out.
Amen.
Sometimes, see, it's about this virus. Could it be? God's trying to get through to America. I love this country. I'm going to say this. It was on Facebook. I'm saying it now. America, you have some idols that you don't see. And God has touching all of them. Sports.
I don't know.
Anytime you can pay, you got no problem making the money. A sports figure, millions. Be a new stadium on the backs of poor folk. While folks suffering. That's idle.
Yes.
Amen.
Folk will rush out of church for a game. And they can't hear you in the stadium.
Amen.
Your idols, whatever you spend your time and money on, that
Right.
is an idol if God
Yes,
does not
it is.
have first place. That's all that is.
Yes, Lord.
Then you wish your money. The God trouble Wall Street. Money, 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 money. An unfair tax system. Well, I bet you probably making money. But be fair. I'll tell politicians, God deals in fair trade, not free trade. How wicked can you get
That's right.
if you want to deregulate the air and water we breathe, and I get sick and you want to deny me health care? God got a problem with that. Wait a minute. And then, God bless him, the crowd has made the president into a cult figure. I'm sorry. That crowd. Now this Bible says right here, thou shalt not have no other God before me. As much as I love my family,
Yes, Lord.
as much as I love y'all, as much as I love this country, I ain't gonna bow down to nobody but Jesus.
Amen.
Amen.
That's all I'm gonna worship.
Yes, Lord.
And when you start giving a man messianic connotations that this book says he does not have, you tell folks if you oppose him, you're not saved. When you say you can't speak against him when he's wrong, God got an issue with that. He never gives anybody a pass. Show me in the book. He give David a pass. Man of God's own heart. Some things God withheld judgment on for their sake, but he judged them. So this country is exceptional. But let me say this to you, America. You're not accepted to the rules of history and the rules of God. Because just as he judged other nations that are on the ash heaps of history, he's going to deal with us for some of the stuff we've done that's wrong. I got quiet on it. That's the book. Because every knee going to bow. And every tongue going to confess. All 45 of them are going to say Jesus is Lord like the rest of us in that day. Like the song says, he's the only star in this show. God bless you. God keep you.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.